Hello everyone, it is I7s, and this is Module 2.7 Building Basics Kitchen. We are going to go ahead and get right into it, but before we do, make sure you like and subscribe. Alright, let's get started. I don't want to waste anyone's time. We're going to try, because I tend to talk a bit, we're going to try and cover this, right to the point. Kitchens. Do I make them in my colonies? Not really. Are they useful? Probably. There are some buildings here that I do not actually use, and so today is a learning experience for all of us if you use the kitchen. For the benefit of the kitchen itself, please let me know in the comments and provide any other kind of tips and tricks for new players. Basic thing that we are going to start with is these three buildings right here. So first off, before we do that, room overview to get us started. This is the kitchen. It requires the spice grinder, which is this building here. It also requires a cooking station. If you pull up the database and you look for cooking station, these are the ones that count as the cooking station. This includes the electric grill right here, the gas range. It does not include the microbe musher. And finally, it can also include the deep fryer. Back on the room overview right here, you will also need a refrigerator. And you must have no mess tables within the kitchen. It has a minimum size requirement of 12 tiles and a maximum size of 96. This room in particular right now is 75 tiles. Now that we covered the room overlay, let's go over the three buildings on the left and slowly work our way to the right. These buildings on the left are ones that I am the most familiar with, and the ones on the right become gradually less familiar. Okay, so the Microbe Musher makes a lot of different kinds of food. We are not going to be going over every single possible food type. That'll be for another video, probably. But instead, what we're going to go over is how it kind of sort of works. Essentially, it requires 240 watts of power, and it requires duplicant operation. In fact, these three all require duplicant operation, as you can see right here, and also right here with the gas range. Let's read the description. Microbe Musher produces low-quality food using common ingredients. Using the mush bar as an example, you need dirt of 75 kilograms, and you need water of also 75 kilograms. This will be brought here, and the basic gist is the Microbe Musher makes food that is not all that great. It gives you a little bit of calories. It's not really great in terms of quality, and if you eat it, you actually lose one morale with the mush bar. Some things get a little bit better, like with the lice loaf, where you need mill lice and water. Tofu is another option, gets even significantly better, but that doesn't mean it's easy to make. Oni is a complicated game, and a lot of these foods require multiple ingredients and things that take time to grow. And then you have berry sludge, which a lot of people use because of its long shelf life. Honestly though, at the very, very, very beginning, I will use the Microbe Musher, but as soon as possible, I will skip it and head straight to the electric grill. Let's spawn in a duplicant real quick. We now have Ada, and the reason I did that is when it comes to cooking, you have two skills right here. Conveniently, she also loves cooking. That's great. If you highlight this one, it says that by learning this one, you gain +2 cuisine, and you can also use the electric grill, the gas range, and the deep fryer. And then with this one, you get to use the spice grinder. So at minimum, you need the first one, and I highly recommend that when starting out and you're picking your three duplicants, that you pick one that excels at cooking. Let's go over the electric grill. This one has a 60 watt power requirement, and this is where it says the skilled duplicant operation, because you need the right skill. This one makes different kinds of food, some not so great, like fried mushroom. But it goes all the way down to the frost bun. The thing to keep in mind is some of these foods, we're going to use a gristleberry as an example. This requires the bristleberry. There's a distinction with G's and B's. So you get the bristleberry, You use the electric grill, and it makes the gristleberry. It provides 2,000 calories, and essentially, without doing all the mathy math, you can turn 1,600 calories of the bristleberry into 2,000. So you're basically increasing how much food you have, as long as you have the 1,600 kcal requirement. The quality is less, good, it's poor, but it does have +1 morale, and when compared to the mush bar, it is an improvement. Some of these foods, like the fried mushroom and the gristleberry, for example, can act as ingredients later on in the gas range. So for example, with the stuffed berry, if you click it and you look, the stuffed berry requires the gristleberry that you made at the electric grill, as well as a separate ingredient being the pincha pepper nut. We'll go over ingredients, food, all that stuff in another one. Basic gist is some of these foods can level up essentially. So you have the electric grill and it will level up the food when prepared again, and you add more ingredients to the gas range. With the gas range also being a cooking station, this one's a little bit different than the other two. This one has a 240 watt power requirement, but it also requires natural gas, and you can bring it natural gas using a vent. So you need to make sure you have a gas pipe and pump in some natural gas to use the gas range. One food that I recently have made is the mixed berry pie. Requires a lot of ingredients. Gristleberry from the electric grill, grub fruit, which you can pick up through farming, and also sleet wheat grain, which you can also pick up through farming. So eventually you're going to want to move up into at least the electric grill, but at most the gas range. Now we're not going to go over really weird ways of keeping food. There are more scientific odd ways that you can do that, especially to get food to not go bad after a while. But to keep things simple within this scale of this video, you can get a refrigerator. You actually need it for the room itself, and it can store food in it. I won't go over all the doodads of how it works, but basically it's kind of like a real life refrigerator. It can hold cooking ingredients as well as different kinds of food, which is good. And it requires 120 watts of power. And I would recommend that when starting out, you definitely go and you build a refrigerator. It does have an energy saver mode where if it has nothing in it, it's just 20 watts of power, which is nice. But keep in mind that as long as it has something in there, it'll even just one little tiny speck of food, it'll do 120 watts of power. It'll draw from that, so keep that in mind. Okay, so the next several buildings, I won't lie, I don't use. I'm not saying that they're useless, but if you're just looking to make the basic kitchen, this is what you kind of will need. You will need to build the spice grinder, which is why I put it over here and not in this other, well, I did put it here, but this is why I put it primarily in the basic kitchen that a lot of people will make, because you just need it. Going back to the room overlay, there is not essentially a morale bonus, unlike some of these other ones, when using the kitchen. It just enables the use of certain buildings. So with the spice grinder, you can choose different spices that also requires different ingredients, and each of them has a different description of what it does. So like the freshener spice slows the decomposition of perishable foods. Rocketeer spice provides a boost to piloting abilities, requires these ingredients here, and so on and so forth with the different spices. But honestly, I do not use it. I just put that there, and I call it a day. You do need the grilling 2 skill as well, just notice that, to be able to use this. Now we're really going outside my wheelhouse, and again, this is due to my just practical, pragmatic way of playing. Yes, at some point I should probably learn these buildings in more detail, but again, if you're starting out, I don't even think you really need to build a designated kitchen in the fact of the room overlay like this, but if you want to have the pretty yellowness of the room, then go ahead and do that. The main thing that you want to have, even if it's not in the kitchen, is a means of making food like with this. Back over here, we have, again, the refrigerator and the spice grinder, but now we have the deep fryer. Deep fryer requires 480 watts of power, and it also requires duplicate operation with the skill as well. You only need the first level to be able to use it. Let's read the information though. Uses tallow to cook a wide variety of improved foods. So tallow, but essentially you get it from the spigot seal by, well, unaliving it. I have not made fish tacos or shellfish tempura before, but it does provide some radiation resistance if you eat it, and they do actually look pretty good. Maybe I'll try it at some point. I don't know. You need paku fillets and tallow and sleet wheat to be able to make it. And then with the shellfish tempura, you need raw shellfish, tallow, and sleet wheat, which I've also not made. So we have the dehydrator. The building I know the least amount. Again, let me know in the comments how you guys use these buildings. It also requires natural gas, just like the gas range. And it uses low, even heat to eliminate moisture from edible foods and render them shelf stable. But then you have to use a rehydrator to put moisture back into them. I won't lie though, I don't know a use for this right now. I guess if you want to dehydrate food, then that could be useful. But again, I don't know a use for that. So to finish up, kitchen as a room, I feel like is not super essential. The buildings to make food are essential. And storing your food and producing your food, that's very, very essential. If not, Ada would slowly perish and would be no longer around. For me personally, as soon as you can start making something in the electric grill reliably, you're on a good direction. I'm biased. I like going up the chain from gristleberry to stuffberry, but there are probably other food options you can do as well. I've always wanted to make these pancakes, for example, because I just love the texture of them so much, like how they look, and I love pancakes in real life. But yes, so I would suggest building at least to the electric grill and finding a food that you feel like you could easily grow. Perhaps in another module we'll go over growing plants such as the bristleberry. I hope you've enjoyed my 2 kitchens here, and they're great restaurants and all that jazz. I'm Sevens. Please leave any comments that you have regarding kitchens, and if you have more, to be honest, use for them than I do. But I hope this helps. Making food is really important, and you're going to need to do that if you're going to try and have any colony survive. And that's Recover It. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, Ada has fallen asleep. Yep, I'll see you guys later.